Welcome, everyone, to the latest edition of Talented Universe on this glorious Halloween day, getting ready
Happy
for all
Halloween.
the crazy festivities tonight. I am looking forward to having probably 200 plus goblins come to my door. That will be fun, maybe, or maybe not. I haven't decided yet. But first, I would like to welcome my co-host, Vernon. How are you doing from South Africa today?
I'm doing well, thanks, Mike. And it's already Halloween night, evening here by us. So yeah, I'll keep an eye out for all of those goblins on our side as well.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's going well, thanks.
Oh, no problem. Did you want to introduce Creigh, or do you want me to?
You're so welcome to do that.
Oh, okay. I would like to welcome our guest from season 26 of The Voice, Creigh Riepe. Creigh, how are you doing today on this?
I'm great. I'm better now that I'm talking to you guys.
Hey, well, I'm glad you could make it here. I really am.
Absolutely.
First off, I just want to say I was upset, cried a little bit when you did not. I knew. I mean, we've had Lauren Michael on, and when I heard that you two were up against each other, I went, I'm so glad there's a steal. I'm so glad there's a steal, because I mean, I want them both to go through. And then when she picked Lauren Michael, and then, oh my goodness, I was just heart-wrenched. I went, no! I mean, your voice is outstanding. I mean,
well, thank you.
That's I had to get that out. So if other people ask that question, it's gone. They can't ask it. But I mean, honestly, when I first heard your blind audition, I wanted you on this show. I really did.
Oh, thank you.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
It was great. And I mean, you were posting about it and everything, and it was like I was going, I got to get him on somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
And then the battles came, and I went, ah!
Yeah, do it quick.
Yeah, but do you even want to talk about that, or just let it go?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, yeah, we're here to talk about all things The Voice. So, yeah, that was I thought that was a really great battle pairing on Reba's part. The song that she chose for us. We both said it on the show that, we felt like she nailed it. I wasn't super familiar with the song when she, presented it to us, but going and listening to it, I had heard it, and working it up, we both felt like lyrically it was a really, really strong song, and it, I think, gave us both an opportunity to really shine and showcase our dynamics and vocal abilities. Yeah. And, when it came down to the battle itself, those are, I feel like, some of the most kind of heart-wrenching, rounds of the entire competition, because you don't want to see anybody go home. Everybody who's at that level, who has made it to that point on The Voice, is incredibly talented. And, even to the point of the blind auditions, you're just surrounded by an immense amount of talent. And so, of course, it's sad for anybody to go home. And of course, we were hoping and praying that, one of the steals would be used on one of us. But I would, given the circumstances, I would much rather go down swinging. And I left it all out on the stage. And I think I left people wanting a little bit more. And so I think in the grand scheme of things, that was a great way for things to happen. I'm just extremely grateful for the time that I had on the show, and I wish nothing but the best to Lauren Michael and everybody else on Team Reba. I'm going to be following along just like everybody else, so it's just been a really cool experience to be a part of.
Creigh, I also want to say, just in terms of the way you tell a whole story, started nice and smooth, and gradually build into something that's just powerful. I also kind of just from the bat recognized that, because first of all, the song that you did for your blind was a very tough song. It's a great song.
Yeah, as a singer, it's a tough song.
It's a crazy song to do. But just how comfortable you are in your head voice. That is something to admire, and I can only imagine you've put a lot of work into being that comfortable in that specific area where it's not really that comfortable for those who know, having to sustain those notes and put in, you know, all the diaphragm and all of that. Um, so that was, first of all, very impressive, and then obviously that meant that you didn't hold back in any way. You know, going up against a lady that's also very talented and has a great, powerful voice, and it was a perfect match. You know, like you said now, and at times I think the coaches also said it was just like something that they could enjoy as a performance.
Mhm.
So that was amazing, man. But I wanna know from you. Obviously, you have tasted success in the past as well, and I think somehow we'll just, because we want to know your whole story. You know, as
Sure. Yeah,
much as we
absolutely.
can, find it together. But before we get into a bit more about your background, first of all, I just want to know: do you see The Voice and that experience as almost like a relaunch for yourself, or just a continuation of what you've been putting in the last few years? What would you say was the most that you've got out of it so far in terms of just going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both because you're right. I have been in and doing music pretty much my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
I Right out of college, I was in a band for several years, and we did taste a little bit of success. We were on the road constantly, and we had music at radio, and it was an incredible experience. But I also feel like, you know, all of those things that I learned along the way prepared me for The Voice. I think that The Voice now, especially in the songs that I was able to perform on the show, I think have given me an opportunity to shift kind of the musical direction that I'm pursuing. And in that sense, it is kind of starting new. And because I typically in the past, I grew up, I don't know if you saw the segment on Tuesday or Monday, but I grew up in a farming community, a really rural area, and country music is what I grew up listening to and performing. And I still have very close ties to everything from that walk of life. But in this season of my life and over the past few years, God has just done some incredible things in changing me, changing who I am as a person. And I want to share that side of my life through my music. And so I think the songs that I performed on the show gave a kind of a preliminary glimpse into that side of me. And going forward, that is musically the style that I want to share with everybody. You know, the positivity, the faith based, uplifting story, that side of my life that I've never really had a chance to share before.
That's amazing. That's amazing, man. And yeah, would you say that the direction would be more like straight up pop, because you definitely have a pop voice as well? Not, I mean, these days all of those genres really just blend into each other, so it's not like you have to only do one. But I mean,
Right.
there's a pop sound, I guess, in most genres, right? So still some country influences combined with pop, and what else?
Yeah, lyrically, I would say, you know, country lyrics, just because that's how I grew up, and you know, the lifestyle that I you know was immersed in growing up. That
Yeah,
is always going
yeah,
to come in as a little bit of
mhm,
an influence in the things that I write.
yeah.
But as far as, you know, if you want to nail down kind of a specific genre of what I'm trying to pursue, it would be contemporary Christian and pop.
Okay, amazing. That's great.
Uh, yeah. Let me go to one of the questions that's in the chat room. And this is from Arc54. Creigh, can you please share a little about your song Helene and why you wrote and released it?
Yeah, for sure. So that song is that's a brand new song, and I just kind of I was praying through what I could do to help with the Hurricane Helene disaster that's going on in Western North Carolina, and I was just kind of overwhelmed with seeing the amount of destruction and pain that those poor folks are going through, and sadly, what happens in a situation like that is it is in front of people's faces and in the news and all over social media for a brief period of time, but it soon kind of gets forgotten. And my goal in writing Helene was to not only provide a way to, give support to that disaster relief, but to kind of give a little bit of longevity to that being in the spotlight. Like I don't want that to be forgotten. Those people are going to be suffering with the aftermath of that, not just the physical aftermath of the storm, but just the emotional and spiritual consequences that kind of a tragedy, can have on a person. So that song was kind of a product of prayer and just, trying to give something back. That's one thing that I can do as an artist, as a musician. I can create music, and if there's some kind of lasting impact that music can have for other people that will bring some kind of good to their lives, I absolutely want to do that. So that was the motivation, inspiration, and the reason behind writing that song. Thank you for asking. That was a really good question. And I can tell you follow me because that song was not. I did not release that to all of the streaming platforms. So you must follow me and have seen that pop up on my social media. So thank you for that.
Arc 54 is a big Voice fan, so
very nice.
that would make total sense. Total sense.
Love that.
And it was like it didn't even dawn on me that's what the song was. When you said, I said, "Duh, Michael." It's like.
Well, not Duck. That was also, lyrically, Helene, it has more of a kind of a musical sound to it. I'm glad that you didn't immediately think that.
No, honestly, I didn't. And the sad part is I was just talking about that hurricane to a friend of mine 3 days ago.
Or
yeah, because she actually has a sister that's in the area, and I don't even want to get into hurricane stuff, but anyway, she was talking to me about what her sister experienced in it. Her house survived, her neighbor's house did not, and they still can't find the people that lived in that house.
Wow.
After all this time that they're still, so it's like, so it's like, Michael, why didn't that click? But anyway, on to another fun question, since Michael made himself a fool. Elizabeth Olivia Cooper says she always agrees. She agrees with me. Of course she does. Creigh, your tone is amazing. Beautiful Things was 10,000% perfect for your vocal range and tone. And just always agree with Michael. Yeah, but
thank you so much.
So that's just a little statement. And then she also says, speaking of Reba, what did you think when she said you could have been a Beach Boy? As someone who grew up with them, I laughed.
Hey, I love the Beach Boys. I grew up listening to them. My dad was a huge classic rock fan, and so the Beatles was that was a band that was in the Beatles, the Beach Boys. That was a band that was in the mix. Whenever we'd go on road trips, we were always rocking out to Beach Boys and Led Zeppelin and the Beatles, and James Taylor would find his way in there, and that was one who was that was a band that was always kind of a musical influence growing up. So it was cool to hear that comparison, and I'll absolutely take that as a compliment, because the Beach Boys they've got it going on. So
absolutely. So who was the biggest influence in your growing up years, getting you into music? What was your dad also? Did he have a background in music, or any of your other family members or so?
Yeah, a little bit. So my dad, he played guitar. He never really pursued music professionally, but he had a guitar. He would play it every once in a while, break it out, and he was really, really talented. He definitely underplayed his guitar abilities, but he was a great finger picker, and he was a huge James Taylor fan, and so he could pretty much sing anything James Taylor and play most of it too, which is saying something, because James Taylor's a great guitarist. But so I grew up seeing him play, and my mom, she also played piano, and so we had a piano growing up. And when I was younger, I would go and tinker on it, and eventually that led to taking some piano lessons, and I became really interested in singing too. I would sing at church and just sing wherever I had the opportunity to. There were local events, and Relay for Life events were a big one that I would always participate in, because cancer has affected my family, and that's a kind of a passion to support Relay for Life. So growing up, I was very involved in performing for those events. But once I found that I had a bit of a voice, I also got really interested in recording. And so the first thing that I ever recorded on was this little tape karaoke machine that we had. And so I would record, and that's very, very basic recording technology. But my interest in that just kind of exploded because I just was persistent in doing that, trying to figure out how to sound better. And so eventually my parents bought me this little 12-track digital workstation recorder. And that was really before the days of YouTube being as prevalent as it is now. You couldn't just go and say, YouTube, how do I record with this device?
Exactly.
And so now it would be pretty easy.
Read an instruction manual or try it out.
There was a picture that they used on my segment this week of me playing the piano in my living room growing up. And in the desk behind me, you see the manual of the AW16G, which is that device. And that thing is this thick. And I read that manual front to back to figure out how to use it. And so that really sparked my interest in production and recording. And so from there, I started recording myself, learning how to, layer instruments, layer my voice. And there were no recording studios where I grew up. That just wasn't a thing.
No.
And so, imagine that, right? So I started recording for other people too. And since people knew that I had an interest in that, I had a little recording studio set up in the office at my house growing up. And people would come and record, and I had a little vocal booth set up in the closet. And so we were just being creative, and I reminisce on those days as being some of the most fun times in music creation for me, because at that point you are not so maybe influenced or, consciously thinking about creating something to sound like something, now whenever you're writing, whenever you're performing, it's like you try to kind of cater to what people are wanting to hear from you, which I've tried to dial that back a bit too, and just create what comes naturally to me. But I remember fondly those days of creating music, because it was just creating to create, like whatever came to mind lyrically or musically. And I was learning the instruments too. Like I wasn't a great guitar player or a great piano player when I was 12, 13, 14 years old. But, I was experimenting with different chord structures and progressions and things like that. So that I remember those days fondly, just creating to create.
Vernon, I've got to go for a second. Can you take over for me, please?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Awesome. And now you also own a studio where you're at right now. Am I correct?
I do. Yes. Yeah. I'm in my studio. So I do a lot of production work. I'm in Nashville. So, there's no shortage of artists who are interested in recording. But yes, I do a lot of recording for myself. I do a lot of recording for other artists, and help with production. I specialize in vocal production and recording and editing and tuning and all that world. But I do it all. I can record full bands, and I kind of market the studio as your one-stop shop to take your music from work tape to a fully produced track. So you can, just come with a voice memo of yourself singing a song, and you come here, and I'll add everything to make it sound like what you want on the radio. So
that's amazing.
It's a very fun aspect of music, in addition to pursuing the artist route.
It is. And just when you said it now as well, like how far it has come since the days of the the little recorders and stuff. I mean, it's crazy that you can have all of this on a laptop. Like even myself, I'm a Logic guy. A Logic Pro guy, just also because I find it very accessible for my specific needs and so on. And it's just crazy, all of the sample packs and instruments you can play in and all of that. So I mean, it's incredible what you can do just with digital stuff these days. So absolutely, it's incredible, man. And so obviously you also serve in church as well, and use your talents there for the Lord and serving the community, right?
Yep. Yes, I do. Yes, I before The Voice, and still I'm on staff at our church. And I help with all of the production elements at our church, kind of overseeing anything from lighting to, the video walls to audio, just trying to help have a seamless flow for all of the services, and also, performing, or I hesitate to say performing, but leading worship with the worship team. We have a new church plant at our church in Midtown of Nashville, and so I'll help lead worship there on Sundays, and so I've been doing that since coming back from The Voice, which has been a lot of fun.
That's amazing, and we actually recognized something very interesting about your season. I'm sure there were, other worship leaders and people who served in that capacity at the church in previous seasons, but especially this season, right? There's been a bunch of you, and you all just ended up almost like together. And I hear that it's been a lot of fun, just all of you guys connecting, almost just like having your own informal little sermons, or just services that you guys just participated in, and that kind of thing. So how was that, just connecting in that way with other people, birds of the same feather? How was that?
I'll say, going to Hollywood, that is not something that I expected to happen. That's something that I prayed happen, but I can't say I expected it. Hollywood is not known for that.
It is not. It is not.
And going into it, that's something that was very important to me, to try and share my faith, and seek other people that were kind of that background. And I soon found that there were lots of other people on the season that came from church backgrounds, who were believers and wanted to have church together. And so that's how we did that. We on our little group chat that we just had designated a time on Sundays, and we would go have West Pool Church, which is the pool that was next to the hotel. And we would go down there at 11 o'clock every Sunday, and just somebody would say a song, and we'd start singing the song, and somebody, they might have a Bible and share a word, and somebody, would say that they needed some prayer, and we'd circle up and pray for them. And so it was a really, really great display of faith. And I had a couple of videos. I had the camera just set up because I wanted it for my own memory, because it was such a wonderful thing to experience. I wanted to be able to go back and listen to it, because, it wasn't only just, sharing our faith with one another, but you're surrounded by all of these incredible voices that's a very unique situation, to be surrounded by, 20, 30 people who are, not only professing their faith together, but are fantastic singers in their own right. And so that's one of very few experiences that I've had like that, where it was just, overwhelming how beautiful the sound of all the voices was collectively. And so I'm very happy that I whipped out the camera and recorded that. And when I shared that video, it seemed like a lot of people were, very excited to see that, because that's a side that you won't see on the show. That's happening behind the scenes in our downtime. And but I think people wanted to see that. People were very excited to see it, and a lot of people shared it and had a lot of positive things to say about seeing that side of the performers that you just don't get to see that on TV.
Exactly. And once again, to just get back to it, I think it's much needed, like, especially like you guys said a few minutes ago, like with everything going on with all of the natural disasters and people having a lot of questions and just struggling, feeling alone through life. And to be able to share that in such a way is very special.
Yeah. I am back, Vernon, so you don't have to go crazy again. Yeah.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Yeah. I heard something going on outside, and I thought that it was someone mowing my lawn with all my electrical cords on the ground.
Oh no!
And I got a little scared, but it
I would have run out the door too. So I do not blame you.
Very glad that wasn't what it was. But I just go.
You have to check. We get it.
Well, yeah, but I had to have an excuse to get away from you. No, I'm kidding. Let me ask. Let's see. There is. I think you might Diggs BTW7. Hey, what's up? They say.
Hey, what's up?
And let's see. Then we have Arc54. Sorry. The work you do would help new artists create quality productions. Air-ready music is awesome. What do you feel is the most rewarding part of being able to follow your own creativity?
Well, I'll answer this in the way that I think it's being asked. I think just having a way to, I think the creative process of, writing a song, the lyrics, the music, and even to the production side of it, it gives you a tangible way to express emotions that, may otherwise just be kind of ambiguous and like stuck in your head. And I really like the process of creating something from nothing, especially when you're emotionally invested in it. And it gives you a tangible thing that you can share with other people that can help them relate to your experiences, that there's no other way to really communicate that. Like, you can tell your story through a song, you can share, your deepest emotions through a song. And, you're not going to just go up to most people and say, hey, I had this really hard time in my life. I had this really transformative experience. I had this really powerful moment as a kid that changed my life, and this is how I coped with it. Like, conversationally, that's not something that just organically comes up. But when you have a creative outlet such as songwriting or producing or recording or singing, that gives you a clear way to share all of those things in a kind of a concise little package that there's nothing else like that, in my opinion. And I find that is kind of across the board. New artists that I work with, that is the reason behind why they do what they do. And I think we all find ways to do that, like, between different hobbies and things that we find interesting in our lives that we pursue, just as have some kind of a, you may not call it a creative outlet, but it's a way to express those emotions that, other people may find different ways to share their emotions. But yeah, I think that is the most gratifying thing that comes from the creative process, is having a tangible way to share your emotions, feelings, thoughts, and process them, and then, share with other people on a broader scale.
Do you think, well, let me ask you this, because you said, I might have missed it since I was gone for a minute, but you said you were helping new artists record when you were in Virginia. Are you still doing that now since you're in Nashville?
Yes. Or... much more now that I'm in Nashville. Yeah.
Much more now.
In Virginia. Yeah. In Virginia, that was kind of my introduction into recording. I mean, in those recordings, I would probably, I would have a million things that I would change on them now, but that was my first intro to recording other artists. And then I knew coming to Nashville, I went to Belmont here in Nashville for audio engineering and music business. And so production is something that I've always had an interest in. But after graduating in the band, I did a lot of production work. As far as our vocals did, I would record a lot of the work tapes and demos that we did to submit for publishing, and things that were kind of in the process of creating the final masters of the recordings. And then after the split of the band, I was like, well, I have this building, I have this setup, I should help other artists too. So I've recorded for friends a lot in the time before I started doing this as kind of a profession in and of itself. But that's something that I feel is important to, it's a skill that I have that I enjoy, having that's another creative outlet. So I think it's a great way to help other artists.
Oh, it's good to have creative outlets. That is so true. Are you, looking forward, what do you want to do? Do you want to pursue singing? Do you want to do production? Do you want to do both? Or do you want to do something totally different?
This would be the breaking news if I just said, hey, I'm going to become a doctor.
Yes. Yeah. You're becoming an actor and you're going to be in a Beach Boy movie and this and that and the other. And
how did you know?
Well, I just know these things,
Right. Yes. To both of those. Yes. Those are things that I am actively pursuing and will continue to do. I have this studio, and so I am continually writing new music, creating new music, recording new music, and so that's what's in the immediate future. Releasing that music. I have a lot of original music that I have not released and shared yet. So I released the 2 songs that I did on the show, and so those are now streaming wherever you listen to your music. And I released videos for those 2 that I filmed here in Nashville.
Oh, so you did videos too? Oh, okay.
I did. Yes. Yeah. So those are live on YouTube now. If you care to go find them, just search for Beautiful Things, Creigh Riepe, and then you will be found, Creigh Riepe, and there are videos and audio for both. So you can pick whichever one
you have a YouTube channel then? Because I do not have that one.
Yes. It's YouTube.
And I'll fix the post down there so people can find it.
Yeah, they're both live now. I just put it on there this week, so you probably wouldn't have seen it before Tuesday. So they're out now.
Okay.
And and going forward, I'm just going to keep pushing the content that I'm creating. I'm going to keep just sharing that with everybody, and I have original music that I'll be sharing and releasing videos for as well, and hoping to get some live performances lined up in the coming months. So that's the short-term plan.
That is good. It's kind of nice. Sorry, Mike. Sorry.
No,
Mike.
Go ahead.
No, it's cool that, because I think both of those things does require full attention, but it is cool because they are kind of different sides to the same coin, right? The one is gives you more stability. The one is like you said a few moments ago, like more the expressive part of yourself, where you can go out and obviously just bring the music to the people in a live setting. So that's cool, and I hope that you'll be able to enjoy best of both of those worlds.
Yes, that's the goal. I appreciate you saying that, and yes, I feel like, as far as singing goes, I mean, that's kind of a God-given gift and a skill that I've also developed over the years. So I want to be able to share that with other people. So that's absolutely something that I want to pursue, that in addition to all the production.
Yeah. Awesome.
Do you have any concerts lined up or anything that you wanted to announce, or are you still working on some things?
Still working on some dates right now, so I don't have any specific dates yet, but y'all stay tuned, and I will be announcing some soon.
Well, that's good. So now I just fixed the scroll bar. So I did that. So now at the end, you will see his YouTube channel. So it's there, and I'll fix it on our webpage too, so we can get that up there. So if anybody don't want to look at this and figure it out, but he's used his name for the whole thing, and you don't want to do it that way, you can go to our webpage, and I'll have the links there under the Talented Universe and under his program. So there you go. Anybody else in the chat room, if you have any other questions? I see people, and we've only had 3 people out of everybody say something. If you have a question for Creigh, please post it in the chat, and we will get to it if it hasn't already been asked.
Yeah.
So, Vernon, do you have anything else, or?
Yeah, I just want a quick, just just a quick word for your family, your wife and your kids, and how have they been? Obviously, they've been very proud of you and supportive, but just how's it been for them, and just their reaction to all of that?
Yeah, well, I'll give you a little bit more than what you saw on TV. So the whole process, as you know, it's a very lengthy process going through the voice. The whole thing started about a year ago. It was probably a year ago, almost to the day, that I submitted the virtual audition of myself singing in here, played a piano song and sang, and submitted that. And then I had talked to my wife briefly about it, and she was like, hold on, if you're doing this thing, we need to plan ahead and actually plan like you're going to be on the show, because I kind of went into it thinking, I'll just give it a shot. What are the chances this could actually happen? Who knows what'll happen? And she was like, we're going to treat this like you're going to be on the show. Okay, what does this look like? So you potentially could be gone for months. What does that mean for us? So, we had a lot of conversations about that leading up to, what the commitment to being on The Voice would look like, and had a lot of prayer and meditation over whether or not it was a good decision for our family. And we felt like God answered those prayers in saying, as long as you glorify me in the process, yes, you can do this, do this for me. And so with that in mind, that was how I approached everything in the competition. Like the people that I met, the people that I was, talking with who were part of the different departments at The Voice. Like I wanted to be a light with everyone that I encountered, and share, my faith and my strength and my hope that had all gotten me to this point. So I wanted that to be kind of at the forefront of every conversation that I had. I wanted that to be very clear in my purpose of being on The Voice. The first time that my wife and girls, were kind of involved in that was the blind auditions. And that was after, as you know, I don't know if the process is similar in South Africa. But, we were in Burbank for a month before the blind audition itself. So when they came out for that, I had already been away from home for a month, and they were obviously ecstatic to see me. But after that first month, my oldest daughter, she was like, do you have to go back out of town again? Do you have to go back out of town again? And so from there, she started kind of piecing everything together and understanding, like, okay, if daddy's doing this, daddy's gone. Daddy's, daddy's out of town. That was what she kept saying. Like, is daddy going out of town? And so that part was definitely, it got harder as the time went on. Total, I think, through the battles, I was gone a total of about 2 months. It was the first month block and then a couple of 2-week blocks. But overall, my wife, she was the champ through the entire process, because she had both girls here by herself for, that whole period. So she was a trooper. She did an amazing job. And of course I was FaceTiming them every day and talking to them on the phone, but she was kind of the anchor through that whole situation, keeping the family intact and kind of being the facilitator to make sure that everybody was okay through that whole process. But yes, we are all great. Everybody, I think, nothing but good things came out of this. My daughters are both extremely happy to have me back. But yeah, that was the longest that I've ever been away from them. It's the longest time I've ever been away from, what my family, from home, for that extended of a period ever. When I was on the road, I think the longest I was ever gone was like 2 to 3 weeks. So my time on The Voice, that was an extended stay. So they were very, very happy to have me back.
Well, I'm glad you're back. I have one silly question to ask, though.
Yeah, ask away.
Have you taught your oldest daughter how to do a high five now?
Did you see that video?
Yes, I did.
She's really good at high fives. I think I don't know what happened that day.
It's like she missed or something, and I was like,
oh yeah, she missed. That was as much as you can miss. No, she loves high fives and she's good at them. I don't know what happened there, but she almost smacked Carson in the face.
I know. It was like, I almost started laughing, and I just went,
it was too funny.
The cameras does crazy things.
Yeah, it does.
Well, between the cameras and the audience, and did you? Okay, let me ask this. This will be my last question. But before I do my last question, I do want to give a shout out to people that have given us a like on Facebook: Roger Noriega, Myra Trent, and Elizabeth Cooper. Thank you very much for the likes. We do appreciate it. We love those things. Blinds. I usually ask, do you remember anything about your blind audition, or didn't you really realize what had happened till after you saw it on TV?
No, I remember pretty much everything. I said on the interview, I said that it was like a blur, which it was. It was, everything happened really quickly. You're in and out, and it's over. It feels like as soon as it starts. But I remember everything that happened that day. I didn't know exactly how they were going to piece together everything. I was really surprised that they had when Michael turned and
said,
he didn't.
"I'm glad I picked you." And
yes, yeah,
and he hadn't.
Right, yeah, and who knows if I'm supposed to share this, but I will. But I was the very first one on the very first day. I was the very first blind audition. So yeah, that was the dry run, whatever you want to call me, guinea pig of the blind auditions.
Well,
which
then
I was.
then honestly, that would explain more that he was overwhelmed because this was his first one.
His and Snoop's, yeah, and Snoop said the same thing. He said he didn't have enough time. So who knows if I would have gotten more turns if I had been later in the competition. I think it all happened the way it was supposed to happen. But it was funny that day that he thought he had turned around and he hadn't. But to answer your question, no, I remembered everything that happened. It is a very surreal experience, but the biggest things that were on my mind that day, walking out of those doors, my family was directly across from me. And I mean, you saw Florence say, "Hi, Daddy." And like that was an emotional moment for sure, because I hadn't seen them in a month. This moment that I was walking onto the stage was the product of months of hard work and practice and rehearsing and lessons and staging and all of these different elements coming together to that, pinnacle moment of walking onto the stage to share this song that I've sung 1,000 times with these coaches. And so that was a big deal. That left a lasting impact on me. And then I'll also never forget when they actually physically turn their chairs. It just seemed like slow motion. They're just, slowly turning. And, everything that happened that day, I very clearly remember. But it was a crazy blur. A very unique experience and unlike anything else I've ever done.
Well, it was the chorus when you came on that chorus and belted it out. I mean, that's what got them to turn.
That's what I was hoping for.
Well, I can see it was like, Gwen just turned right as soon as you started in that chorus, and then Riepe was right behind her.
Well, that's the thing. If you know that song, you know that that's kind of the climax of the song. So I didn't expect anybody to turn before that, really, because if you know that's the pinnacle moment in the song, you kind of are waiting to see
how you handled it.
Yeah, is he actually going to hit it? Is he actually going to belt it? Is he actually going to go for it? Because I've heard other versions of that song where people will kind of play it safe and not belt it, or just different variations of performing a song, which is fine. But if you're trying to emulate what Benson Boone is doing, which is insanely difficult to do because that guy's on another level. But if you're trying to emulate what he's doing in the song, you have to belt that part of the song. And he screams it a little bit. I don't quite have that texture in my voice to allow for that without just like choking. So I did not attempt the scream vocal that he does. But yes, you're right. They were waiting for that moment.
It was kind of obvious, but I mean, I was looking at Snoop. I mean, he was rocking with you the whole time, and so I can see now that if that was early on in the competition, that he really wouldn't have expected. He's like he was having too much fun, and then like, oh, it's over with. Oh
yeah, you can absolutely understand how that would be, kind of throw you for a loop, it being the first time going through that. So, but like I said, I think it all happened the way it was supposed to happen. I was hoping that Riepe would turn. I was planning to choose Riepe if she did turn. And so, I mean, she was the one that I was mostly focused on.
Because you went to her concert.
Yes, I did. Yeah, that was I was like 4 years old. I was probably Florence's age when my mom loaded me up.
Wow.
Yeah, I was young. I was really young. But I remember it. I remember the concert. I remember where I was sitting I think it was in the Roanoke Civic Center. Actually, you talk about Roanoke. It was in Virginia. It was either there or the Salem Civic Center. But yeah, 94.
I've been to Salem too.
Yeah, it was one of those two. I can't remember which one it was, but I remember where I was in relation to the stage. But yeah, she was the very first concert I ever went to.
That is cool. That is cool. Vernon, do you have anything closing that you wanted to bring up with
Yeah, I'll just say,
okay.
No, Creigh, it's been just a lovely time getting to know you a little bit, and I'm sure that I'm speaking for myself and Mike will just be thrilled for your journey to continue in an upward trajectory and just go from strength to strength. You deserve it. And like I said earlier, your goal is to glorify God through what you're doing. So I just wish you all of the best, and yeah, I trust that everyone watching you had just a very enriching time now as well, just hearing from you. So thanks for joining us. And
absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me. This has been a joy. I've been looking forward to this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Creigh, if any other time you want to come on, if you've got an announcement you want to make,
Sure.
You've got a 50,000 city tour or something like that you want to
I don't know that that's ever happening, but yes, I will definitely let you guys know. This has been a lot of fun. So yeah, Michael, Vernon, I just appreciate you guys taking the time to invite me on.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. I really do. Those out in the world of the internet, this is your last chance. You've got 5 seconds to post a question if you want to ask him. And if not, if I don't see any other questions come up, that we are going to be closing down for this evening. Our next voice contestant that we will have on will be Adam. And that will be next Wednesday.
He's great.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to that. And
you'll have a lot of fun.
Who knows? Someone else might pop up in the meantime. It's like you never know. But anyway, I don't see any questions coming through. So on behalf of Vernon, Creigh, and myself, thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.
That was good. Thank you.